The year is 2054. Earth is on fire, consumed by a war of galactic proportions so advanced, humanity never stood a chance. As the planet crumbles, a handful of Ark ships flee into the stars, carrying the last remnants of civilization. You are one of those survivors, crash landing on the uncharted planet Mira, a new world, a new start. But survival can't, and won't, come easy. When Xenoblade Chronicles X launched on the Wii U in 2015, it felt like a quiet miracle. It was an ambitious, sprawling open JRPG from Monolith Soft, one that asked players to leave behind the structured linearity of its predecessor in favor of uncharted alien skies. Years later, with the long-awaited remaster finally bringing the game to modern hardware, it's worth revisiting how X dared to diverge where it excelled, and why it still has a loyal cult following that is growing by the day. So, following the success of Xenoblade Chronicles in 2010, Monolith Soft found themselves in a kind of unusual position. Critical acclaim, a growing fan base, and a Nintendo partnership that encouraged creative freedom. Where the original Xenoblade channeled high fantasy filtered through existential philosophy, Tetsuya Takahashi and his team envisioned something different for their next entry. Something inspired by Western sci-fi epics and open-world exploration. Development began around 2011 and the team wanted a break from traditional JRPG constraints. Rather than a sequel, X would be a spiritual successor, built on a new engine to take full advantage of the Wii U's capabilities. The setting would be alien, literally, the tone more grounded, and the focus shifted from saving the world to surviving it. If Xenoblade Chronicles was about standing atop a dead titan's shoulder and gazing at God, X was about crashing onto a mysterious planet and building a home from scratch like a futuristic sci-fi Oregon Trail. Planet Mira is the star of the game. Kaleidoscope of biomes, from the verdant Primordia plains to the searing cauldrons of Kaldros. It's a place that feels massive, and I mean like it looks massive. It's unpredictable and alive, with day-night cycles, weather effects, and indigenous wildlife ranging from the docile to the absurdly deadly. I love the setting and environments of X. It might actually be my favorite of the Xeno series as a whole, and that includes Xenosaga. The worlds feel so alien and dangerous. You know, it reminds me of Pandora from Avatar, and I was obsessed with that movie when it first came out. So I really want to know if you guys feel the same way that I do. Mira was designed as a seamless open world with no loading screens between regions. Something rare even today on way stronger hardware. Every rock formation and floating island invited exploration. And getting your first skill, which was the mech suits that you see in all the promotional material, didn't trivialize traversal. It added a new vertical dimension to traveling. For a lot of people, the moment you lift off and realize Mira isn't just wide but tall and deep,
that's what she said,
is unforgettable. So like I said, the game is set in the year 2054, and Xenoblade Chronicles X opens with a bang. Literally. Earth is caught in the crossfire of a galactic war, and humanity flees aboard massive Ark ships. The game follows survivors of the American ship White Whale, which crash lands on Mira. From there, players create a silent protagonist and join Blade, an organization tasked with helping humans survive, explore, and recover the memory core of their crashed ship, now embedded in the planet. Like, I can't say it enough, but I love this idea of frontier survival mixed with sci-fi and like building a new civilization, especially on this alien world. The game trades sweeping metaphysics for a grounded, human-scale story of colonization, resource management, and alien diplomacy. While some fans miss the emotional punch of Shulk's journey, and I don't blame you, X does excel in world building and lore, slowly unraveling Mirror's mysteries through optional missions, hidden data logs, and cryptic alien ruins. The supporting cast, Elma, Lin, Gwen, Lau, and others, offer a mixed bag of personalities, but Elma stands out as a cool-headed leader with secrets of her own. The final twist recontextualizes much of the narrative, but true to the game's themes, it raises more questions than it answers. Now, X is mechanically dense in the way that only a Takahashi-directed game can be. Real-time combat returns with a revamped version of the original's cooldown-based system, now layered with positional bonuses, combo chains, and overdrive mechanics that reward skillful timing and build optimization. Combat feels more technical and, I guess, less accessible than its predecessor, but it offers room for mastery and creative builds. Me personally, I always love the approach of, easy to learn, hard to master. And I'll be honest, I do love both battle systems from Chronicles and X. And it's really up to you to decide which one you like more. I think they're both pretty addicting. The game's class system allows players to specialize in various combat roles, and with dozens of weapon types and skills, there's a deep customization loop. Skill combat, which is unlocked midway, is a game changer. Massive mechs with their own combat styles, fuel management, and gear loadouts. Owning, customizing, and eventually flying a Skell remains one of the coolest JRPG moments of the past decade. Progression in X is non-linear and story-driven. Players accept story quests, side missions, and affinity quests, and those are quests that reveal your character's backstories and unlocks some new features. Exploration is tracked via the hex-based Frontier Nav system, which lets you place data probes across Mirror for passive income and fast travel points. This feeds into the whole idea of colonizing and expanding and surviving, and it adds a pretty satisfying logistical layer to exploration. The game also introduces a light multiplayer component. Players can join squads and contribute to global objectives, or recruit AI-controlled versions of real players' avatars. It's pretty subtle, but does add a sense of shared survival, and it's kind of cool for what it is. It's nothing groundbreaking. Now, the long-rumored remaster, which was released on the Switch, finally, gave X the second wind it deserved. With upscaled visuals, improved lighting, faster load times, quality of life tweaks, better map filters, and streamlined menus, the remaster preserved the essence of the original while removing, a lot of long-standing friction in the game. The voice acting and music basically remained the same. Yoko Shimomura's eclectic and often polarizing soundtrack still defines the mood with bombastic, genre-hopping flair. The remaster made X more approachable and playable in handheld mode, something unthinkable on the bulky Wii U gamepad. And let me know if you guys... I want to know if anybody actually had a Wii U, because I didn't know anybody else who ever did, so I really want to know. Alright, now I'm going to talk about what I believe are the game's biggest strengths and weaknesses, and I'd love to know if you guys agree or not. So, for me, Xenoblade Chronicles X especially excels at evoking this sense of wonder. It's a game about stepping into the unknown and forging paths where there were none. The scale is unmatched, and I mean few open worlds feel as handcrafted and dense, especially with the vertical exploration. The systems reward planning and experimentation, and the freedom it offers, even in a single-player game, remains a rarity. It's also a rare JRPG that truly nails science fiction, not just in aesthetics, but in theme. And you can't be surprised because it is Monolith Soft. Colonization, alien cultures, transhumanism, and existential uncertainty permeate every layer. This atmosphere and ambition is probably what I love most about just X as a whole. And of course, the game isn't flawless. Its narrative structure can feel disjointed, especially with how story missions are gated behind level requirements and, Scout X NPC checklists. The pacing can break some immersion and feel like filler sometimes. The lack of a voiced protagonist, while understandable for customization, robs some scenes of emotional punch. And I'm usually not a big fan of silent main characters unless it's a Western RPG where you can kind of pick your dialogue usually, and it just kind of fits better in that design philosophy. Or if it's like my previous video, Mario RPG, Mario is a silent protagonist, but like he pantomimes everything, all his feelings and expressions fully and convincingly. He conveys his emotions even in an over-the-top pantomime kind of way. Or I guess if you're Link also, and you don't need to open your mouth for anyone or anything. So let me know where you guys fall in on this. And so yeah, while Mira is breathtaking, the main story doesn't always make full use of its potential. A lot of the game's best storytelling is tucked away in optional content, and the ending, while bold, is arguably too ambitious for its own good. So let me know what you guys think about that. At launch, X received very strong reviews from critics, with praise directed at its vast open world, depth of gameplay systems, and technical achievements on the Wii U. Reviewers admired the scale and ambition, though some noted that its story and characters lacked the emotional resonance of its predecessor. Commercially, the game sold okay. It sold about 1 million units worldwide, which is actually a solid number considering the Wii U's limited, aka terrible install base. But it never achieved any kind of breakout success. However, fan enthusiasm endured, with online communities keeping the game's legacy alive for years, and the remaster helped introduce the game to an even broader audience, finally allowing more players to appreciate its intricacies without the constraints of dated hardware. So Xenoblade Chronicles X remains the black sheep of the series, but in the best way. It's a game that took massive risks, narratively, structurally, and mechanically, and paid off with a one-of-a-kind experience that hasn't been replicated since. It's not for everyone, but for those willing to learn its rhythms, it's unforgettable. X aimed for the stars. Even if it didn't hit them all, it left a brilliant trail across the sky. It's the kind of game that lingers in your mind, pulling you back with a single memory. That first glimpse of primordious plains. That first Skell takeoff. The first moment you realized Mira wasn't just a map. It was like a world. This isn't just a hidden gem, it's a monument to what JRPGs can do when they're unafraid to be different. If you've never played Xeno Chronicles X, you're not just missing a great game. You're missing one of the most daring RPG experiences of the last decade. Alright, I appreciate you guys watching, and let me know what you think of Xenoblade Chronicles X. Straight up, the Xenoblade Chronicles series as a whole, and especially X, is just one of the most addicting game franchises I've ever played. I'm talking you can sink like 100, 200 hours easy into this game without even realizing it. It's the gameplay loop and the way it's structured is so good and so satisfying. It's always like one of those, just one more mission, one more story point, one more, whatever, one more hour. So I'd love to know what you guys think of Xenoblade Chronicles X. Once again, if you made it this far in the video, I would really appreciate your sub. It's free, and I will keep pumping out this RPG content. Thank you all. Have a great day, and God bless.